No, I'm not about to review an Amerithrash farming simulator, although it does appear that way. No, I've been painting all day and threw myself together to come do the video time, but today we're taking a look at a game that should be near and dear to my heart, and we'll talk about if it is or not at the end. Obviously, that's what a review is for, but it is a game about trivia. Now, I have done exactly one trivia review. I don't know. I hardly ever do trivia game reviews because they just don't get made that much and played that much. But I love trivia games. Like, I love trivia. Yes, it's probably some sort of narcissistic tendency in me to let everyone know that I, yes, do, in fact, know that obscure Cold War historical fact or World War I historical fact or scientific. It's probably, I'm an arrogant fool sometimes. Yes, I'm aware. But I do love trivia just because it's always fun to just, I know this. I've heard this before. I've always loved trivia. My buddy Andy and me both love trivia and have played trivia games forever and ever, but really it all boiled down to, are you playing Trivial Pursuit? Which edition, right? But no, today we're talking about a game that is all about trivia and trolling. Something else I love, because look, trolling, memery, is great fun when done correctly, hilariously, ironically, done in a funny way, not in a boring way in which you can't figure out how to meme quite well, but in a way which you troll in a way that evokes humor on even the people that you're trolling. They don't get angry, they chuckle. So, except for that episode of Black Mirror. But, this is a long preamble. I know I used to get dinged for this. Go back and look at the videos from 5 years ago. But the reason is, Trivia Trolls is going to be a quick teach. Very quick. I'll give you the summary. You read trivia, the other team messes with you. That's it. But we'll talk about how that plays right now and come back up, talk Final Thoughts right now. Alright, Trivia Trolls, all the party game trolling trivia without any of the pearl clutching, because it's pretty clean. So, how does this game play? Come on. That's why I used to do the snap. I still do the snap sometimes. There we go. So what we have here, a rule book with a cute little joke on the front. Actually, I enjoy this. It just says, all you need to know is everything inside this. That's a long thing. Anyway, point being, it's a one pamphlet, nicely made pamphlet, and by any concerns, super cute trolls on the inside. Scorecard, first to 11. If you hit 5 or 10, you're going to move back. We'll talk about what that means in a minute. The clue cards are obviously the most important part. These are the different cards from the different categories. Now, I've got them separated by category so you can see them right now, but you've got history, geography, mystery, pop culture, science, sports. Jennifer Aniston. Entertainment and geography. Entertainment and pop culture. What are we doing? Anyway, point being, these are two different ones. So let's see. Well, there we go. It's a wrestling reference. Obviously the best. Tell me it's... Okay, I was about to say, tell me there's going to be a wrestling reference on here. Miami won the national championship. Who did he coach for? Anybody know? Down in Louisiana. Oh, he's not in Louisiana, but he is now for at least a couple months. Anyway, cards. Point value on them. You're going to bid ahead of time. You want number 1, number 2, number 3. All right, it's geography. We want 3 points. Okay, cool. This state's bird is the mountain bluebird, and its flower is the sagebrush. Get 90 seconds. Crap, I don't know. Well, you don't get any points. Heck, it's Nevada. You get 3 points. You'd move up 3 points on this. By the way, no tokens. Move up 3 points on this. If we were to hit exactly 5, which means you've got to be careful. You have to go smart with your cards. You move back to 0. First to 11 wins. Anyway, that's the clue cards here. Now here we have the action cards, and these are including things like trolls, and all the trolls are pretty neat. So it's things like player reading it must gurgle a mouthful of water, must sing in the best opera voice. You must instead act out the answer. Player does a Yoda voice. Mary had a little lamb. You sing into that tune. Replace all the I's with Q's. That's good. You've skipped the first letter of each clue. So must rap. Boy, that'll be fun. Player reading the clue must do so with flapping their fingers across their lips. The player reading this must read the clue without every word containing the letter A. Let's practice that one, shall we? Let's pick a different one than Nevada. Nobody cares about that right now. I'm just kidding. We love you, Dice Tower West, all that sort of stuff. But you know what I mean. All right, entertainment. So let's go with This, what did it say? No A's? This LGBTQ has hosted the primetime, oh, so no, I can't say the primetime Emmys. She, 4 books, her own record. There you go. So you'd have to answer the question like that. It makes it difficult. Hence the fun of trolling. You get to do things like that. Now, there are 2 other types of cards. Trenches, which are kind of protections that the clue giver can choose to use. And traps. These are negatives that I don't honestly care about those because they're just, it's not so much about that, but they're things that you can mitigate points loss and points gained. But that's how you play Trivia Trolls. Let's talk final thoughts right now. So that is Trivia Trolls. That's how you play it. Yes, I know it's very simple. Now, here's the thing. Let's talk first of all. In a trivia game, you're not expecting to see Ankh style, Cool Mini or Not, or Fantasy Flight style miniatures, etc. So out of the gate, we're not going to talk necessarily about production quality and things like that. The box is nice, the cards are nice, the graphic design is nice. It comes with a sand timer, which I love, which is more or less 90 seconds. But all in all, you're not buying this game hoping it's the greatest game table presence, right? So that's kind of a moot point on this review. No, it doesn't look like pencil and paper or a playtest, but just know that this is not why you buy these types of games, right? You're not buying a party game or Codenames. Goodness, Codenames does almost look like a prototype at this point, but anyway, so forget that. Talking about playability here. I love trivia. I'm going to knock it first so that I can bring it up, right? I love trivia, and here's the deal. I love the idea of the trolling, too. We'll come back to that in a minute, but I want to knock it for something right now because there are a good amount of categories for every type of person to play. There's not that many cards of clue cards. And if you're going to play this a lot, you need clue cards because one of the downfalls of trivia games is you memorize the answers. You may not know the 3-point version now, but you will 2 times in. Oh, it's Gordie Howe, right? So the reason I bring that up is because the trivia questions, especially the sports, I don't know who curated the sports questions, but I really don't think it's a sports fan because looking through it, I'm like, oh, you went with that question because I don't know. And I think a lot of it's trying to shine light in different places of the sports world, but for some reason, like there are so many questions that aren't asked in the sports section that you would think should be asked if you're trying to make it a much more, open gaming experience to more people playing the game, not who the cards are about necessarily. So the sports section was kind of weird. History was a pretty good mix. Geography was a good mix, but they're not fleshed out enough. If I'm going to play this game and I'm going to invest the time, I want more questions. And again, this might be something that's coming. It might be you can make your own and adapt them, but there's not enough questions for this to have long-term life with the same group, or unless you're facilitating the game, right? So that's my only knock. Now, let's talk about the trollery. I love the things that it suggests. I love the ideas of, read the third word. Now, again, that does mitigate. Right, that does mitigate the memorization of the questions because you're not only trying to answer the questions, you're trying to answer the questions with the trolling going on. So you may know that the answer is Gordie Howe. I use that as an example because it used to be every sports question in Genus 5 or whatever was Gordie Howe. But anyway, you may know that's the answer. And you may know that your team knows that's the answer. But if you can only read every third word or if you have to mouth the clue, that does mitigate those lack of clues. So I just want to be really fair about that. Not enough clues, but it's not all about reading the clues and doing straight trivia because of the trollery, and I'm sure that's what the designer would say too. But at the end of the day, this is a fun experience. I like the varied styles of trollery. Now, I will say, clearly some of these trolleries are things that popped up from this designer's game group, and they're like, oh, everybody will think that's hysterical. Like the Shakira voice. Like, yeah, there are plenty of other voices I could have gone with besides Shakira. I saw the Yoda and all that. I get it, but I'm like, Shakira is tough to pull off, and not only is it tough to pull off, it's tough to pull off in a way where people aren't just like, that's weird, please don't do that. So I thought that was kind of strange, but the rest of the troll cards are really, really funny. I don't care about trench or traps. That's not my bag. I'm more about like, hey, let's just use the trolls in this. I know they're part of the game, the action cards and all that, but I really care more about the trollery and the trivia. So hence the name, Trivia Trolls. So I'm Bryan Drake here on the Dice Tower. Make sure to follow us on Twitter, Instagram, etc. at Dice Tower Bryan. That was a long-winded explanation and intro, but because the teacher was so short, I figured we'll get away with it. So I'll see you next time.